Hey guys, quick video to update you on what's going on my channel and some interesting information about Foundation. I've been talking to the developers. We'll get onto Foundation at the end because I've got quite a lot to tell you about Foundation. First of all, Mutant Year Zero. Mutant Year Zero, I can confirm, Mutant Year Zero, I will have the full game preview build tomorrow. That's Friday the 30th. So you can expect content tomorrow for Mutant Year Zero. And they've just announced, actually I think it was yesterday, they just announced a new character. So we have the three characters of Dux, Bormin and Selma. They've introduced a new character, which is a mutant fox, who is, she's a like an assassin type character, focusing on sneaking abilities. That's kind of cool. And they also said that there is a fifth character that's going to be in the full release game. So can't wait to see who that's going to be. That's going to be interesting. Okay, so that's Mutant Year Zero. Expect that tomorrow. Frostpunk Endless Mode. I know there are a lot of you out there who are waiting for me to do a Frostpunk Endless Mode series. Now I did do, when it first came out, I think like the first day it came out, I did do a live stream playing it on, there are two modes. There's Serenity mode, which is kind of like an easy mode. And that was the mode that I played on the live stream on the first night. And that was actually easy. I found it to be actually easier than I thought it was going to be. It really is a mode that you can just kind of play fairly relaxed and just kind of enjoy the experience and build up your city. Hard mode is something else entirely. Hard mode, which is called endurance mode. Endurance mode is pretty tough, and I know that is going to be a real time sink, and to be honest, I know it's going to be kind of stressful, which is why I've kind of, I don't know, I guess I was thinking about this, I guess I'm kind of a little bit afraid to play it, but I will do a series, but it's going to have to wait a few days, because I desperately want to play Mutant Year Zero, and also I think Foundation. It kind of depends how long for Foundation, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Frostpunk Endless Mode, yes, but not for a few days. Transport Fever and City Skylines. I always like, and there's just like a constant flow of comments, you know, here and there. What's happening with Transport Fever? What's happening with City? Are they dead? They're not dead. They're definitely not dead. Transport Fever and City Skylines, both of them I am kind of not rushing at the moment because, especially with Transport Fever, I'm waiting for my new PC, because frame rates on Transport Fever in particular they're really borderline now. And if I'm going to do much more in terms of beautification, like adding more stuff into it, in order for the train rides or the vehicle rides to look good, I just simply need a faster system. Specifically, those kind of games are CPU bound. I need a more powerful CPU. So I will be back to it. It could be. I would expect Transport Fever to be back probably within the next week. City Skylines will kind of fit in where I can fit it in. I'm not in like a desperate rush, especially with Transport Fever. I know what I want to do, right? The problem is the hardware limitations that I have to actually like do what I want to do without like killing the frame rate completely. I'm already getting down to like 20 frames per second, which that's not a pleasant viewing experience. It has to be over 30 frames a second for it to look even remotely good. And when I do the ultimate ride videos, I would love to do those at 60 frames per second so that it's just beautifully smooth. But we'll have to see. So that's Transport Fever, City Skylines. I don't really know exactly. I haven't got an end vision for City Skylines, and I'm kind of just waiting for those ideas to kind of percolate and come to fruition. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be back, but it is going to be back for sure. So that kind of leads me on to new PC. I have finally, after like about 3 months of planning and researching and going back and forth about this component, this build, that build. I have actually decided exactly what I'm getting for my new PC. It is staggeringly awesome. I'm actually thinking about putting together a video going through each of the components in my new PC build, comparing them to what I have at the moment, but also explaining how I arrived at the decision to get like that particular part and how the parts that I've got relate to each other, because it's a pretty complex process. And I've completely changed. I think pretty much almost every part has changed from what I originally thought I was going to get. So I think I don't know. Would you guys be interested for me to put together a video just kind of explaining the decision process and why I've chosen one part over something else? If you're interested in that, drop me a comment and let me know. So let's talk about Foundation. So Frostpunk, Mutant, Year Zero, Foundation are probably all tied right now as my favourite games. Those are my 3 favourite games at the moment, with probably Transport Fever being a fairly close fourth. And Transport Fever is one of those things, like, when I actually start playing it, it usually becomes instantly my favourite game. But right now, probably, yeah, Foundation and Mutant Year Zero are kind of tied for the top 2, then Frostpunk, then Transport Fever. So, Foundation. The last video I put out was called like Dead End, because I reached a dead end with this particular build because I was having problems with churches, and I've been speaking to the developers, and a big shout out to Ash and Philippe, who've been filling me in on what's going on and answering questions about what my problems are and fixes that are coming along and stuff, and explaining some of the mechanics behind the scenes. Some interesting stuff. Okay, first thing is the churches. Okay, so in the last video, I followed a guy who works at this farm here, Male 623. Good old Male 623. It's a shame you can't rename him, because I would rename him to something and like follow him for the rest of the game, because I've become very attached to Male 623. Not like that. So what he is doing at the moment, we can actually like follow him. So what's he doing at the moment? He's looking to fill his needs, and what we saw was that he was going to get water and going to get housing separately from going to get food, and separately from satisfying religion. I think he's probably off to satisfy his religion right now. Yeah, that's my guess. If I actually speed this up a little bit, we'll see. Yeah, he's off to satisfy his religion. Now, there are plenty of churches over here that he could go to, and he's not. Oh, I think he just went to this church. Did he just go to this? I think he just went to this church. Okay, so why is he not going to, for example, this church or this church? Or I actually built another church over here, which isn't here because I've actually loaded up an earlier version of this build. What's happening is there is a bug at the moment with the churches, in that the game thinks that all the churches are in the same physical location. So when they try and work out, like, what's my closest church, they're all the closest church. So then it goes by, well, which one was built first, right? And this is why we're sitting, and now I understand this. Now, it was Philippe that explained it to me. Ash is the community manager, and Philippe is one of the developers. Philippe explained to me that they're all in the same location, and then it just chooses them by, well, which one was built first. So they're all trying to go to this church. Okay, so that's why you get these processions, these huge processions of people going to this church, right? But sometimes old Male, was it 639? Goes to this church over here, and sometimes, like he did just now, he goes to this church here. So why is he doing that? Well, it's because I've got a population of almost 400. This church here has a maximum attendance of 160. So what's happening is that, you know, he's looking for a church. This is the first one. So if this isn't full at that moment, he'll go to this church. But once this is full, he can't go to this church. So the second church that I built is actually this one. So he'll go to this one. And if that one's full and that one's full, then he'll go to the third church which I built, which was this one. And if that one's full as well, which it can be, let's see, we've got 160 and 80, so that's 240. And then this one is 46, so 240, 286. So yeah, we've got like over 100 more people to satisfy. They'll go to, this was the one that I built next, so they'll go to that one. You see, that one's full as well. So yeah, dependent on like how full any particular church is at that moment in time, they could be going here, they could be going here, they could be going here, they could be going here. And now it all makes total sense. So, and it was driving me freaking mad. The hours and hours and hours that I'd spent trying out all kinds of different things to try and understand what the hell was going on. So now I understand that. Brilliant. So this problem has already been fixed, and they were actually going to release that in an update that was originally planned for yesterday. But they decided to actually bundle in a few more fixes. So that update is going to be coming out in the next few days. I don't know whether it will be out before the weekend. So it might be into next week before we get that update. We'll just have to see. But it's such a relief that is going to be fixed. Now, while we're on the subject, one of the things that I was really quizzical about, really didn't understand, was that my psychos, they call them creeps, the devs call them creeps, the psychos, they used to get, or they used to try to satisfy all of their needs at one time. So they would leave work and then they would try to satisfy all of their needs. Now this is why I always used to just build wells by the market, because they would leave work, they would go and get food, water and religion all at the same time, and then go to their house, sleep, and then go back to work. They're not doing that now. This is one thing that I saw. For example, where's our little 623? I said 629, didn't I? 623. Where are you, 623? He's over there. Well, he will, let's see, he actually needs food and water right now. So he's got religion. In fact, we can see this now. So he's gone and got some religion, and now he's going back to work rather than satisfying his food, water and housing needs, right? Which is inefficient, doesn't make sense, right? And what he'll do is he'll go out, he'll do a little bit of work. Right, now he's looking to fill his needs. Now, he should go and fill all his needs in one go. Currently, they can fulfill their water and housing and food and religious needs separately. So, you know, he went to get religion and then he went back to work, instead of going to get his religion and getting some food and water at the same time, which would be more efficient. Well, yeah, that changed. There is... And Philip told me that there is a bug with how they satisfy their needs at the moment. That, again, has been fixed. And they now will go back to the way they used to be. Now, this is significant because wells, people always used to say to me, oh, build lots of wells. And I always used to say, no, there's no point building lots of wells, because the way they satisfy their needs, they go and get their water and their food and their religion all at the same time. So all you need is to have all of those close together, and then they'll walk to one place, get satisfy all their needs, and go back to work. So you don't need, for example, a well here. That's just a waste of time, right? The only exception to that is bakers. If you have bakers, you should always have a well close to your bakers. Why? Because bakers need water at work. So that's the exception to that rule. So yeah, so that's going to be changing back. So now I can get rid of all of these extraneous wells that I don't need. No, I'm keeping it all. Thanks very much. So so that's that. What else? What else? Oh, now I asked Philippe about housing preference, and there's a couple of things we can mention here. So, right now, the way that they choose where to live is they're just assigned to like any old house. So like if you build a new house, it's just like two people are assigned to it, and there's no real logic to it, and they don't move around to be closer to their work or whatever. Now, is that going to happen in the future? Will people move around to be closer to their work? Yes. The developers confirmed that will definitely be happening in the months to come. That's not going to be an immediate thing. It's definitely going to be months before that happens. But they are going to do something in the meantime to allow assigning of people to be easier, so that they're closer to where they work. In the meantime, the best way I've come up with for assigning people is if when people arrive at your village, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the villager list. There we go. If you assign them all as builders, right? So when they first arrive, you assign them. Where are we? You assign them as builders. So you don't have any unemployed people, right? So that every unemployed person is just assigned to be a builder. Then you can, like, if let's say I wanted some people to work in this farm, right? Then I could just go and look at houses and see, like, okay, where are the closest people living to this job who are builders, right? So let's say these two were builders. Then I could just change them to whatever I want it to be. Or now the problem with that is that if you've got other workplaces which are not filled, they may not go and work at this farm. They might, like, if there were spaces, they might go and work at this farm, right? So if you just unassign them from whatever they're doing at the moment, which would be building, so unassign them as builders, so they are now unemployed. So I'd have two unemployed people. Then you go to the building that you want them to work in, and I don't want to. Actually, it doesn't matter. Like, if I get rid of actually, like, have I got a building that's not being used at the moment? Let's have a look. If I bring this up and have a look down here, stonecutter camp, perfect. Right, so this stonecutter camp. So I could locate this stonecutter camp and then unassign a couple of builders and then just use this to assign those two people. And it would be those two people because it only assigns people who are unemployed. So that is a great way for you to micromanage getting the people, the closest people to work in a particular building. So that's that. Now, this kind of has illustrated my next thing, and I mentioned this to Philippe. I said, if I've got one request, is there any way that we can have a function to close down all the windows in one go? Because at the moment, when you're doing stuff like this, and I'm looking around the houses, it's a nightmare because you've got to close each one of these individually. There is no key or anything that you can press to close all of the windows. And you can't close it with escape or with right mouse or anything. And he said, yeah, okay, that's something we'll take a look at and we'll see what we can do. So hopefully, at some point in the future, there will be a single key to allow you to close all the windows, which would be awesome. Awesome. So there you go. So my biggest issues with the game right now are all being addressed. Now, I already love this game. If they do all of those things, oh my God, and we've got so much more content to look forward to. Seriously, this game is going to be just awesome. And they're adding modding support, so, you know, there's going to be modded stuff coming into the game. Oh my God. This game has such huge potential. It's massive, massive. I'm loving it. So there you go. That's all the updates that I've got for you at the moment. Tomorrow I will be working on Mutant Year Zero. I will be playing that to death and getting videos out to you. And as soon as the next Foundation update is released, I will be getting back to this build. I can't wait to continue this build. The gridded city. Doesn't that look cool? When you look at it from the top and it's all gridded compared to like these kind of mishmash kind of villages. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait to do the monastery and all that kind of stuff. So much to do. All right, guys. So there you go. If you've got any questions or whatever, leave me a comment. If you've got, if you want me to do that PC video, let me know. And I will catch you for the next one. Peace out.